Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Jeb Smith, real estate broker here in Southern California, and today we're going to discuss the eviction and foreclosure moratorium in a little bit more detail. If you've been paying attention at all, over the weekend, President Trump signed an executive order supposedly extending the eviction and foreclosure moratorium. And we're going to take a look at the actual executive order that was signed by him that supposedly extended that eviction and foreclosure moratorium. Now, if you've been watching my videos at all, I actually did a video last week where we discussed the expiration of this moratorium, and I gave you my thoughts on what was to come. I told you that I thought in the next stimulus bill, they would do some sort of extension, pushing this out till further in the year just because of how many people would be affected by, that expiration. And as of right now, we don't have a deal, right? Congress cannot come to an agreement on a deal between the House and the Senate to actually put language in writing and have two parties agree upon it to extend this eviction and foreclosure moratorium. So technically it's expired. Now, if you have a federally backed loan, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, or VA, you are protected until the end of August. And some states, like California, the governor has given each county the opportunity to decide whether they want to push it out until the end of September. I know states like New York have pushed it out until September. So depending on what state you live in, where you're located, it actually may be pushed out further than what we're experiencing here, or based on the original CARES Act. So originally part of the CARES Act here, sorry to backtrack, but want to give you some information. The expiration was for mid-May. In mid-May, they pushed it out until June, and then it was pushed out again until the end of July. I believe that's the timeline. But at the end of the day, it expired at the end of July, and FHFA, the Federal Housing Finance Agency, actually extended it until the end of August, protecting people that have federally backed loans. The problem is that all of those people who don't have a federally backed loan are not protected under that moratorium. So if your loan is privately owned, you have a hard money loan, it's a private lender, or perhaps you're renting a property and the owner of the property doesn't have a federally backed loan on that property, you aren't protected. And so a lot of people wanted to see that as part of the next stimulus bill that was passed, not only protecting those people, but also providing some sort of federal assistance for tenants, for people who weren't able to pay their rent. And as of right now, we haven't seen that. All we've seen is that, President Trump signed an executive order over the weekend extending the eviction and foreclosure moratorium. Now, if you read the headline, like I did, you thought, great, they extended it. That's great for all the people that have federally backed loans, or in that position where they're renting a property and they have federally backed loans, but that's not the reality. The actual bill does nothing. All it is a bunch of legal jargon. We're going to take a look at it here. I'm going to pull it up in just a minute, and we're going to read it. And you tell me in the comments below if you got something different out of that than what I read, because what I read is it doesn't actually protect anyone. But before we get into that bill, I want to take a minute and introduce myself again. I'm Jeb Smith. I'm a real estate broker here in Huntington Beach, California, Southern California. And thank you for taking the time to watch. If you're new to my channel, it's all about real estate. I'm here to help provide insight to buyers, to sellers, with market updates, or just breaking down topics like this to help you understand. So if that, is of interest to you at all, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, or it's actually down there, not up there, down there. And give me a thumbs up if you like the content. It helps with the algorithms. It helps more people see it. So let's pull up that bill that Trump signed over the weekend. Take a look at it, read the language, and then we'll get back in and discuss it a little bit further. All right, so this is the actual executive order on fighting the spread of COVID-19 by providing assistance to renters and homeowners. Now, I'm not going to sit here and read all of it. I took some time to highlight the things that I thought were important prior to us coming on video here. So I'm going to scroll down to that and read it for you. And then again, we'll go into it a little bit further here in a moment. So it says the CARES Act imposed a temporary moratorium on evictions of certain renters subject to certain conditions. That moratorium has now expired, and there is a significant risk that this will set off an abnormally large wave of evictions. So they know that the expiration is a problem and that there's a lot of people, 30, 40, 50 million people that could be affected by this moratorium expiring. And so they know that it needs to be extended. Accordingly, my administration, to the extent reasonably necessary to prevent the further spread of COVID-19, will take all lawful measures to prevent residential evictions and foreclosures resulting from financial hardships caused by COVID-19. Now, this is where he actually gets into, if you want to say the meat and potatoes of this, which there really isn't any, but this would be the information that you want to pay attention to. I'm going to bring it up here a little bit larger so you can read it. Take my face off the screen. All right, so it says, this part I didn't highlight, but I will read it. So response to public health risk of evictions and foreclosures. The Secretary of Health and Human Services and the Director of CDC shall consider whether any measures temporarily halting residential evictions of any tenants for failure to pay rent are reasonably necessary to prevent the further spread of COVID-19 from one state or possession into any other state or possession. Of course, there, needs to be, an extension. Yes, of course, there are people affected through this. So anyway, that doesn't provide anything, but that's, part A of that section 3. So B is where it starts talking about it. The Secretary of the Treasury and the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development shall identify any and all available funds to provide temporary financial assistance to renters and homeowners who, as a result of the financial hardships caused by COVID-19, are struggling to meet their monthly rental or mortgage obligations. All it says is that they shall identify any and all available funds. It doesn't say whether they're going to, if they did, how much, how long, anything. It provides no insight. Goes on to say the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development shall take action as appropriate and consistent with applicable law to promote the ability of renters and homeowners to avoid eviction or foreclosure resulting from financial hardships caused by COVID-19. Such action may include encouraging and providing assistance to public housing authorities, affordable housing owners, landlords, and recipient of federal grant funds in minimizing evictions and foreclosures. Again, there's nothing in there that says what they're going to do, if they're going to do anything, how they're going to do it. Nothing. Zero. Goes on to say, in consultation with the Secretary of Treasury, the Director of FHFA, that's the Federal Housing Finance Agency, shall review all existing authorities and resources that may be used to prevent evictions and foreclosures for renters and homeowners resulting from hardships caused by COVID-19. That is essentially what he signed. It goes on to read a little bit more, which I don't find very interesting in that, and didn't feel any need to show you that. But all it is suggestions. There's nothing in there that provides any detail as to what will happen, when it will happen, for how long it will happen, anything. So with that said, I expect more information to come out on this soon. I expect some sort of moratorium to actually be passed. Personally, I think they have to pass something. I think they're in a position where they have to do something to protect people, and therefore something will likely come out, but this is not it. The executive order, it did not save you. So if you're in a position where you're potentially getting evicted, potentially getting foreclosed upon, that will continue until something comes out and changes that. Again, this is primarily for federally backed loans. If you have a private loan, if you're renting a property from a private landlord who has a private loan, you are not protected here unless something is passed in the new stimulus bill that is the way it will be. So as I mentioned in a video I did last week, which I'll reference here, make sure you're talking to your landlord, having those conversations, trying to work something out if possible. Communication is always the best option when facing this sort of thing. As always, I appreciate you taking the time to watch. I'll continue to provide updates as I get more information, but I'd love to know your thoughts, comments below. Put them down there. If you like the information, give me a thumbs up, and we'll see you again on the next video. Have an awesome day. Talk soon. Bye-bye.